A spiritual state is a spiritual fortress. Today is the time for souls to be prepared. For if something were to happen, I don't know what lies ahead. May God prevent difficult days from coming, but if they do come, with a slight earthquake, a shake-up, whole brotherhoods, entire monasteries will come crashing down, because each one will try to save himself and go his own way. Much attention is needed for God not to abandon us. Your souls must have something spiritual in them. This is what makes you honorable. There will come a great shaking. I have told you so much, I have spoken so sternly. If I had been so forewarned, I would be troubled over it. I would ask why I was told such things and what must be done. For one thing, I wouldn't sleep over this for at least one night, if not for many nights. If I didn't see the difficult years ahead, I wouldn't be so troubled. But what I see is that later you will be greatly troubled. You may not understand me now, but you will understand me later. Geronda, what is someone to do if he is alone during difficult years? Start now by first of all being obedient, acquiring discernment, and then we'll see. This is why we must first get rid of our faults. If one has faults, he will not be able to get through the difficult times. If now he complains about everything and considers himself to be a heroic person, while all the others are in a terrible spiritual state, imagine then. Make sure you correct yourselves now so you will be entitled to divine help. Put your trust more into God and find your support in Him. He will have more difficult years. The fruits are still unripe. They haven't ripened yet. When you become spiritually mature, do you know what you will be? A fortress. Not only for here, but you will be helpful to others further away. Otherwise, you too will need human help and protection. And have you any idea how bad it is for a monastery with so many sisters to be in need of lay persons? Today, as always, a monk must live spiritually in order to be able to overcome a difficulty. He must be prepared and not worry over deprivations, because then he may end up betraying Christ. A time will come when all the rivers will dry up, everyone will be thirsty, everyone will suffer. For us monks, this is not so terrible a thing. For if we are thirsty, we should be thirsty, having voluntarily accepted to endure hardships. And I will say, whatever I didn't do voluntarily as a monk, I now do involuntarily in order to understand what it means to be a monk. Thanks be to God. But what about the poor people? When people reach the point of inventing bombs which kill people and spare the buildings, what can I say? Christ said, one soul is worth as much as the whole world. And yet they value buildings more than all the people. This is horrible. Geronda, I am afraid of what awaits us. Such fear helps us to hold on to Christ. Not of course that one should rejoice over what awaits us, but at least one can rejoice at a chance to struggle for Christ. In other words, we may not go through an occupation like that of Hitler or Mussolini, but we will be tested for Christ. We won't win by having machine guns or atomic bombs. This will be a spiritual war. We will do battle with the devil himself, but the devil has no authority over us that we ourselves don't hand over to him. What then should we fear? It would be different if indeed the enemy were a Hitler or a Mussolini. But now let no fear be in you. In fact, rejoice that a battle is a spiritual one. If you live monastically, patristically, and are spiritually vigilant, you will be entitled to divine intervention in every attack of the enemy. If there are people of prayer, humble people who have pain and love in their heart, they will serve as spiritual capital and be spiritual basis. When 2 or 3 souls exist in a monastery who think of the pain of others and who pray, this is a spiritual fortress that can keep all enemies at bay.